Hello, my mathematicians. This is Miss Foster with Math in Focus, 4th grade, Chapter 6, Lesson 9, Line Plots with Fractions, Synthesized. Now, friends, for the purposes of our study of fractions and to save some time for those who are perhaps a little overwhelmed by all the math learning at home, we are not requiring that anybody learn the stuff in this lesson. But it is recommended, and there are test questions that will show up on your test for this specific lesson will earn you bonus points. If you consider yourself at all an extension student, I hope that you will do this lesson and do the work and turn it in appropriately on Google Classroom. So I think you're going to do pretty well because this lesson is about taking line plots, which you already got, and putting them together with fractions that you've just got. And so that kind of application and synthesis just makes your brain think more deeply and makes you stronger in both areas. So it's a quick lesson. Let's take a look. When you do the test questions or even work in your workbook, you'll be given a tally chart of data. A science class measures the lengths of beetles in the school garden and records their data in a tally chart. The only change for this lesson, as opposed to our Chapter 5 lessons where we did a lot of line plots, is that now the data seems to be in fractions. So they found some beetles that were 1/8 of an inch long, some that were 2/8, 5/8, 1 inch long. So it looks like they were measuring with inches, and inches are often divided into eighths. You can see them on all the little rulers that you have. Then they show the data in a line plot. They want to look for patterns in the data. Each X represents one beetle. There's the title, length of beetles, and there's the units, inches. And I bet as you look at this, you're like, wait a minute, I could do that. I know, that's why you should do this. So from the line plot, the class can see that most of the data is either in 1/8 of an inch or 1 inch, and then a whole bunch right in the middle at 5/8. This may mean that the class is measuring 3 or more different kinds of beetles. So what's the difference in length from the shortest and the longest beetle? Well, let's see. The shortest beetle is 1/8 of an inch. Oh, excuse me. The largest beetle, let's start with that because its subtraction is 1 inch. And if I'm doing that in eighths, of course, the eighths version of 1 would be 8/8. And so the largest one is 8/8, and the smallest one over there is 1/8. And the difference is what we do when we subtract. We call the answer to a subtraction problem a difference. And we are dealing with eighths here, and it turns out that 7/8 is the difference. And this is in its simplest form. Let's try one together. Sandra plants some seeds. After 2 months, she records the heights of the plants. So she's measuring the height in feet. The FT means feet. 0 feet, 1/4 of a foot, 1/2 of a foot, 3/4 of a foot, 1 foot, and 1 1/4 foot. So here is the line plot that they suggested we just copy. And as you can see, I've already done 0, 2 plants there, and 1/4 foot, 1. And so now I'm doing 1/2. Ooh, that's 4 of them. Now, this is to remind you as I do this, that when we do line plots, we kind of want to get these X's to be about the same size. And we sort of want to imagine that if I've got 2 X's on this one, it'll be about the same height on all the others that have at least 2 X's. Let's see here now. 3/4, 3 of them. So when I'm doing this, I'm going to want to line this first X up with the others, line this the second X up with the others across sort of horizontally there, and the third one. There we go. 1 foot plants. We had 2 1-foot plants. So again, I'm trying, it doesn't have to be perfect, but I'm trying to line it up there. And then 1 1/4 foot plants, we only have 1 of those. And having made that line plot, we are now going to use that line plot to answer some interesting data questions. So let's see what they have to say. Number 2, the first question on this page was actually doing the line plot. Let me get a nice color here. Let's do a nice pink. How many seeds did Sandra plant altogether? Well, I could count my X's to do that. So there's 3, this is 3, that's 6, this is 3, that's 9, this is 3, that's 12, and then there's this last one at 13. So the answer here would be 13. Wow, that's really not a good color, Miss Foster. Pick something darker, why don't you? Let's do purple. Aha, there we go. How many seeds did not grow? Well, if the height of the plant is 0 inches, I don't think they grew, so I'm going to put down 2 for that. What is the difference in height between the shortest and tallest plants? Aha! So if these guys didn't even grow, well, that's an interesting question. Is it 1 1/4 or is it 1 foot? I'm going to say 1 foot. You know what? As your teacher, I promise you that on the test, it's not this confusing. I would probably either accept 1 foot or 1 1/4 foot, depending on if you consider plants that have not grown at all to be plants. Bad math and focus. Don't confuse the children like that. Okay, what is the sum? Ooh, that's adding of the heights of the shortest and tallest plants. I would say that if the shortest one is 0, and this is 1 1/4, then it's definitely 1 1/4. But if we're not counting these guys, then the difference between these two is 1 foot. And this is where you'd want to at least put in the foot abbreviation. It's always FT. 3 plants grew 3/4 of an inch. How much did they grow altogether? Don't you think this should be 3/4 of a foot? You know what? I'm just going to move on. You see how we're doing this. If you come up with a question that is that wonky, would you please send me a message somehow? Maybe show up at my office hours? I don't know. The rest of them seem fine. So again, this lesson is recommended but not required. No stress. There are test questions that go along with line plots and data that's presented in fractions. And you'll have to draw line plots just like in that last one. And you'll have to answer questions about your line plots when you're done doing that. So that can earn your bonus points. Why not do a little practice? We're doing pages 183 to 187 for this assignment. And no, you don't have to do them all. You could just do one and say, I'm not going to take those questions. I don't like this part. Or you could say, I got some time. I'm just going to do these questions and get ready for the test and having bonus points. Because bonus points, if you make a mistake on something else or you found a really hard one that you weren't sure about, this could help raise your grades. So it's a really great opportunity. If you're lost or stuck, rewatch the video, get out those fraction bars, draw bar models, do a lot of remembering back to that whole unit we did. We did 2 units on data. So important. Contact your teacher or me during our office hours. We would love to see you. And that's the last thing you need to do with fractions this year. Bye-bye for now.